So this is the sourdough bread you can make from your starter. We already gave it a go, so it's only half eaten. But it is really easy and you can do it. So I'll show you the steps that you need for it. You need to put 12 grams of salt and you need to dissolve it in 247 grams of water. And you just mix it with your hand until the salt dissolves. It's lukewarm water. Bring my scale back to 0. And this is where your sourdough starter comes in. And you mix in 128 grams of your sourdough starter. And I will just mix it so the gluten dissolves in the warm water, in warm salty water. That's good. Back on the scale, bring down to 0. And I'll put 375 grams of flour in here. I'm using strong flour, but you can easily use plain flour and it will be absolutely fine. And I'll just use my hand and mix it together. Just bring it all together. It will look very messy, just shaggy mess. You don't need to knead anything. You just literally need to combine the mixture fairly well. Alright, this is it. And this is your first stage done. Really easy. You need to cover it with a cling film and put it somewhere for 2 hours. I'm just leaving it on the side of my kitchen. Nowhere really warm, but nowhere very cold. And in 2 hours, I'll show you step 2. So you can see, this is now 2.5 hours later. There's a little bit of steam going on. Look, that's because the dough is already developing. There's not a huge difference in size. I'm gonna scrape it out onto a surface that is not floured. And you're gonna feel like you wanna flour your hands, but resist the urge, don't do it. It changes the consistency of the dough. I'm gonna push it out into a rough rectangle, and if you have a pastry scraper, use it. If not, you can use a wide knife, but it's worth getting one of these. And you're just gonna fold the sides in. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's it. And you sort of turn it upside down, or try to turn it upside down a little bit. And then now you try to form a ball using the friction of the surface, forming it into a shape of a ball. You don't want to disturb it too much at this stage. There's lots of lovely bubbles. Okay, and when you're fairly satisfied with the lovely shape of this, you put it back in a bowl and cover it back up and forget about it for about 4 to 5 hours, and that's part 2 done. So this is about 5 hours later. You can see that it's considerably grown in size. I've got a bread basket here. If you don't have one at home, doesn't matter. Just line up any bowl with a kitchen towel, and you need to dust this really well, so you don't want the bread to stick into it before you turn it out onto your tray when you're going to bake. It's about 11:30 in the night right now. I'm not going to bake it, but I'm just going to do this last bit, and I'm going to put it in the fridge, and it will prove overnight, and I will then just bake it in the morning. I'll show you how to. So I've dusted my basket really well into every corner. Now I'm going to turn my dough out onto the surface. And you need to work carefully with it. Some people will say don't dust at all. I'm going to dust a little bit because it makes life a little easier. So I'm going to spread it into sort of a square or rectangle, and I'll fold on itself again. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm gonna turn it onto my slightly floured surface. I'm gonna get the little help of the flour, and again, as I did before, I'm gonna turn it into a ball. I want to close the fold at the bottom, so I'm not flouring too much. I'm using the friction of the surface that will help me close the dough at the bottom. So when it then bakes in the oven, it doesn't burst open at the seam. If you don't have this, you can just do it with the hand. Sort of pull and fold on itself. Pull, fold, pull, fold, pull, fold, pull, and fold. I'm quite happy with that. I'll put it in my basket. Okay, no, I'm not happy with that. Haven't closed it enough. It's the friction of the surface that helps you close it. Well, that's better. Can pinch it together a little bit if it is opening. And now I need to dust it really well on the top and on the sides, so as it proves it doesn't stick. I'm going to use all this flour that I had before, and this will now go into the fridge and it will prove overnight, and I can bake nice fresh bread on Saturday morning, ready for bacon sandwiches. I reuse my cling film that I've had from this morning, but I forgot I scrunched it up. Never mind. There you go. And into the fridge it goes. So this is now the bread dough the next day, and I've preheated my oven to 240 degrees and I've put an oven-safe pot in it because I find that the bread bakes so much better in it. And I preheated it at the same time as I preheated the oven. Be careful, this is really, really hot. Right. At this stage, I will just turn the basket around, carefully not to burn myself. There we go, bread is in. Very sharp knife, slice. To allow for the growth. Put the lid back on. And now I will bake it for 20 minutes with the lid on. I'll show you what it looks like in 20 minutes. The lid on, because inside it creates steam and it's just an ideal environment for baking. Right, now after about 20-25 minutes, I will uncover and bake for another 20 to 25 minutes uncovered to your desired darkness. So this is now about 15 minutes later, and you could keep going for a little bit longer if you desire, but I think I quite like this golden color, so I will take my bread out now. You could easily bake it for another 5 minutes if you reduce the temperature to 220 just to get stronger, darker crust, but this is where my baking ends for today. And I'll put it on a rug to cool down. Now I gave it about 5 minutes for the bread to cool down a little bit, so I don't run risk of burning myself. And I just want to show you what it sounds like. So it needs to sound hollow, and that way you know it's baked. And you can now just cool it on a wire rack until you're ready to eat it.